Lisa, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Stranda. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us, you guys are the
Hello,
real
Liz. I came
MVP.
across this video on my For You, and I thought to share where I think a lot of people were actually reacting to the Save Act, bill that was just passed. So many of them was just crashing out, and it's actually not sitting well with them. You all know how we do it here, how we try as much as we can to know what everyone have to say about the new developments. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. All right,
They either don't care that millions of American women will be stripped of their right to vote, or that has been their goal all along. Roughly 69 million women, about 25% of eligible voters in our country, have IDs that do not match their birth certificates, usually because they changed their name once they got married. Under this bill, if they don't have a passport, and half of Americans don't, they wouldn't be able to register to vote. Think about that. Tens of millions of women, the backbone of our families and our communities, stripped of their right to vote simply because they got married. Imagine a woman who has voted in every election since she turned 18, who pays her taxes, who contributes to her community. One day she learns that because her name changed when she got married, she is suddenly unable to register to vote in her state. No amount of documentation, no social security card, no marriage license, no previous voter registration will satisfy the requirements of this bill unless she possesses an updated passport or a birth certificate that matches her current name. This isn't just bureaucratic nonsense. It is an outrageous attack on the rights of women across our country.
Can you explain the SAVE Act and its effect on the right to vote, especially among married women? I've been seeing a lot of this on social media.
Right. So the SAVE Act is a law in search of a problem because it purports to solve the crisis of non-citizens voting. And non-citizens voting is already against the law. It is designed to stop what Republicans say is the problem of voter fraud. Voter fraud is extraordinarily rare in the United States. It's really not a problem. But there is something that is like voter fraud that we do have a problem with, and that's election fraud. Election fraud is when you alter the system in such a way that you can win an election because you have, for example, gotten rid of a lot of the people who otherwise would vote. And that's really what's going on with the SAVE Act, because by requiring documentation in person of your citizenship when you vote. First of all, that knocks, I think it's about 140 million people don't have, for example, a passport, which is one of the ways you could document that you're a citizen. But it also provides a real problem for American women, because those women who have birth certificates, many women change their names when they get married, and so their birth certificates do not match their adult names. And that, I think, is about 69 million women. Those numbers are off the top of my head. And that's a real attempt to get women away from voting, because women overwhelmingly support the Democrats. And people like Peter Thiel have said that really we shouldn't have women voting because they tend to vote for Democrats. But in this case, it's important to remember that voter fraud is actually extraordinarily rare. And the idea that we have to do things to stop non-citizens from voting, that virtually never happens. You're more likely to get hit by lightning twice than have that happen. But it's also important to remember that election fraud, skewing the vote in such a way that people who would vote against you cannot vote, That's actually quite common in the United States. And that's something that we have seen in the modern era, really since 1986, when the Republicans started to do it. And then especially after the 1993 passage of the so-called Motor Voter Act, when after that attempt of the Democrats to make it easier to vote, Republicans began to say that when Democrats won elections, they had done so only through fraud. And that's where you get that concept really rising of voter fraud, although it's really never been a thing, I promise you.
My wife is brilliant. My wife is kind. My wife is well educated. My wife is a wonderful manager. My wife is such a great leader. My wife is so hardworking. And my wife is an American citizen. And after Congress just passed the SAVE Act yesterday, my wife, as well as 64 million American women, can no longer vote. So to be very clear, H.R. 22, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, disenfranchises women voting. It takes away the right to vote for 64 million women and about 4 million men that are in this country that are American citizens and have the legal right to vote. And if you don't think this is disenfranchising women from voting, then just think about how hard it will be for a woman to vote. She has to get a new passport, that's $130. She has to get copies of her birth certificate in order to apply for that. She has to get copies of a marriage license. That also costs money. This is a poll tax on women. The SAVE Act disenfranchises 64 million Americans. Just because they're women doesn't make them any less more American, doesn't give them any less right to have a vote in this country. Those women deserve their vote and their voice being heard. And the SAVE Act takes away their vote and their voice. My wife is brilliant. My wife is kind. My wife is hardworking, and my wife deserves to vote.
If you are a married woman, stop and listen to this right now. Okay, guys, let's talk about the SAVE Act. U.S. House of Representatives just passed a bill called the SAVE Act, which would require people to show official documents like a passport or a birth certificate to register or update their voting information. Its supporters say that it stops non-citizens from voting, which is already illegal and very rare. The reality is it makes voting harder for millions of Americans, especially married women who changed their last name. Most driver's licenses do not prove citizenship, so you need to have extra documents like a passport. Okay, right now, the bill still has to pass the Senate to become law, but here's why this is such a big deal. Fewer women voting means less support for policies like abortion access, paid leave, fertility care, and married women may be blocked from voting in the United States if their names don't match across documents. So think your birth certificate, your driver's license, your passport. Do they all have the same last name? Because mine do not. Women's voices in elections help protect children, healthcare, our rights, and funding. The SAVE Act is such a big deal. What we can do about it right now is call our representatives and tell them no on the SAVE Act.
Right to vote away. That is where we're at. Under the Trump administration, they are trying their very best to limit voters, especially women. You know why they want to limit women as much? Because the women are the ones who have to have the children. They're the ones who deserve a choice for abortion. More likely, those people would be Democratic. However, it's definitely not only based off of abortion. No, the Trump administration is just simply misogynistic as fuck. They are against women's rights. This new SAVE Act, should this turn into a law, it's not fucking saving anyone. It's costing people their right to vote. Republicans, shut down an amendment to this act that would ensure all eligible and registered women who have the right to vote can vote. They voted against this and rejected it. How can you say you support women's rights to vote when you are the one who is trying to limit that? Holy fuck. You fucking idiots. It is disgusting that in the year 2025, this is even brought into fucking question. Oh, she's not gonna let you tap, bro. Of course that's the only thing you're thinking about. You probably can't get any play yourself. I'm saying this because it's fucking disgusting. I recognize that it is not fucking moral. What the fuck is wrong with you? I said it before. I will say it again. This is the worst administration the US has ever seen. Taking women's right to vote away.
While I do agree that this country would be in a much better place if women didn't have the ability to vote, because the majority of women are overly emotional, voting for people who are also too far overly emotional, voting for things that don't even fucking matter in this world, I fear I must tell you, Democrats, that women still do have the option and the ability to vote, and women will not get their ability to vote taken away by Republicans. As much as you want that to be true, and as much as you're pushing that narrative, it's not actually the case. You just need to show proof that you're a legal citizen in this country. You just need to be able to show your passport, your driver's license, your marriage certificate, if you change your last name, how you change your last name, you need to show your birth certificate, I don't know, any documentations that you have with your original last name and your married last name, which any walking, breathing adult who's a normal standard citizen should have. Even in emergency situations, you have access to those documents. You can go to pretty much most government issued websites. You take your little phone, you type it in, how do I get these documents, and you can get it shipped over to you. You want to know how I knew? No, because I got my social security card stolen like 10 years ago. It was stolen out of DC. And you know what I did? I went online and I got myself a new social security card. It was the exact same thing. It wasn't hard to do. It took like a couple weeks to come in. And to be quite frank, if you guys are really that worried about people not having the documentation, people who don't keep track of their proper effective documentation to being a citizen, like their driver's license, their passport, their birth certificate, any of that, like if you literally don't have those around and you don't know where they are, then you're not responsible, and you probably shouldn't have the ability to vote. Because if you're not willing to take care of yourself and your future and the documents that you need to exist as an adult in this world, well, then you're probably not responsible enough to cast a vote that's going to affect millions of people in the United States. So again, I go back to the fact of, while I do think that this country would be a much better place if the mass majority of women didn't have the ability to vote, I again fear, I must tell you, that that's not happening. Your Democratic leadership, yeah, they're lying to you again. And clearly, if they genuinely believe that this is voter suppression, or they're trying to take away women's rights to vote, or people of color's ability to vote, yeah, they clearly don't know how to read bills. It's all laid out there in the bill exactly what's needed. And that makes me now second guess, why are you electing people into office who don't even know how to read a bill or believe that people of color don't have documentation? That's actually wild and quite racist.
The office of Congresswoman Marie Cousin Press. How can I help you today?
Hi, I have a question. I'm not sure. I might need a case manager, but I'll just tell you first and then you can decide. So I currently have my own bank account and I'm not married. And so based on the way the representative is voting, I just want to make sure that when she next votes to take away women's rights to have a bank account, I know what I need to do since I don't have a husband to hold it for me. So who can help me with that? Who can help me figure out when she takes away our next right after our voting right, how I can make sure I'm staying within the law? Wouldn't want to be sent to El Salvador, so just want to make sure I'm on top of it.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, you can call our Vancouver office and they do our casework.
Okay, great.
Anything else I can do for you today?
Yeah, tell her shame on her. She's an embarrassment to women.
Will do. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.
Listen up, Texas. This is a call to action. On Monday, April 14th, Texas House and Senate committees will be having hearings on multiple terrible bills, and they are open to public testimony. We need to show up and oppose these bills. I will be there to testify against at least the following 4 bills. SB 2753 will completely abolish mail-in and absentee voting in federal and state elections. This makes voting much harder, if not impossible, for disabled people and people who can't afford to take a day off work to go vote. SB 2514 establishes a hostile foreign organizations unit to target foreign influence operations. The Texas government would be able to use this unit to monitor, investigate, and censor people for their protected political speech, especially people who oppose the Israeli genocide of Palestinians. HB 4503 requires that all medical records created within the state include a biological sex marker, based on an extremely narrow and inaccurate definition of male and female as provided in the bill. Not only would this bill make it much harder to track and study healthcare outcomes for the trans community, but it also sets a dangerous medical precedent. Medically transitioned people such as myself are not physiologically identical to cis people of our assigned genders at birth. HB 3225 gives the state power to enforce unspecified guidelines on public libraries to prevent children from accessing sexually explicit material. To be clear, it's already illegal for public libraries to give explicit material to minors. This bill is about creating a watchdog that forces exorbitant fines onto libraries that don't comport with whatever arbitrary standards of explicit material the state comes up with. Given that there are no less than 5 Don't Say Gay bills currently filed in the Texas legislature in this session alone, it's pretty clear what the state of Texas is going to consider to be obscene or explicit. This is a book ban, plain and simple. And those are just the 4 most important bills as far as I can tell. Those 2 House bills will be heard in the House State Affairs Committee at 8 a.m., and the Senate bills will be heard in the Senate State Affairs Committee at 9 a.m. Registration to testify in each hearing ends 15 minutes after each hearing starts. These hearings may take several hours and possibly include recesses. Testifying in the public hearing is the most effective way to make your voice heard, but if you don't have time, you can still come to the Capitol to register your opposition to the bill or leave written testimony with the clerk. If you bring written testimony, you need to bring 25 copies. A lot of sources will say 20, those are out of date. If you can't get to the Texas Capitol on Monday, but you still want to help, you can by liking, sharing, and commenting on this video to boost it in the algorithm and ensure that as many people as possible see it and know to show up. If you do go and you spot me, don't be afraid to come up and say hi. I'll see y'all there. Mwah.
Sometimes I think that all of the news is just the Onion, like pulling a huge prank on the whole world. Social Security's public outreach is going to be exclusively on Twitter now. The Social Security Administration is only going to be communicating with the public through Twitter, or X is what it's called now. Also, they're proposing to send the government is proposing to send $10,000 checks to Greenland residents. To residents in Greenland. Our tax money. Our tax money to Greenland residents to essentially try to bribe them into becoming part of the United States. What is going on? This isn't even covering the fact that we are human trafficking people to other countries and paying them to take people and put them in concentration camps that they are calling El Salvadorian prisons. We have a serious problem in this country, and I'm not talking about red versus blue. I am not talking about that. There is a serious problem in that White House. The SAVES Act passed in the House, so it'll surely pass in the Senate. You don't know what that is? Oh, where if you have a last name that you weren't born with, let's say you ever got married and you changed your last name, in order to vote, your last name has to match your birth certificate or your passport. So you better have an updated passport. And don't wait till the last minute, because with how much defunding is going on, good luck with having the appropriate amount of employees approving passports. Wouldn't be surprised if they looked into their voter registration data when you put your name in there and prioritize those that are registered as Republicans. They would. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. For the Democrats, it's called VAN. It's a program where you can go and look up every single person's name, their city, and you can see how they're registered. Whether they vote, whether they don't vote. If they turn their ballot in. It's a real database. I've used it. This is a serious problem. You have to vote. You have to vote. If you are someone who is eligible to vote, an American citizen, and you have not been voting, that is done. You have to vote. You not voting makes you responsible for this. You need to vote. It doesn't take long to do. And now it is harder to do. They literally want low voter turnout.
Like, seriously, lovelies, this is just as if this has always been the plan all along. It has always been the plan from the beginning. Like, seriously, lovelies, these people are beginning to realize that that in which people that looks like me have been trying to say for the longest of time is being put out there one after the other. I want to actually talk about a little bit of the Project 2025 and all of the shenanigans that surrounded. I could vividly remember when this Project 2025 was a thing. So many people that looks like me was, all shocked and talking about how, wow, is this not what this present administration actually have plans for? Like, all of the things in that project 2025 is just coming out one after the other. And when people that looks like me decided to like make it known to people that it's like this administration actually have plans of their sleeves, they refuse to listen to them. They actually refused to listen to them. They were like, oh my God, what are you saying? And during that period, Orange Man even have to come out to talk about how, oh, he does not even know about the Project 2025, that he don't know what people are talking about, that he don't even know the person that is in charge of it. Like, seriously. And now it's as if all of the things there written there is just coming out one after the other. These people do not want women's voice. They don't want, like, oh my goodness, they have serious beef to to womanhood. This is the reason why most of them, even if they saw that former people actually have some criteria, they chose not to go for her because they believe that, oh, women, oh my God, no. And now they're just making it or trying to make it very difficult for women to actually vote. That means, why are they even doing this right now? They're just trying to make life so difficult for women. And I like the fact that all of these people crashing out, so many pan-colored women and men and all of that are beginning to understand everything that people that looks like me have been trying to say for the very first time. They are beginning to understand that, okay, it is not more all about your race anymore. Like, there is an agenda. It is an agenda. Like, these people know vividly well that a lot of married women will find it very difficult to vote if they should pass this bill, but they did it anyway. What does that tell you? That tell you that they don't really care. They even don't want you to vote. Like, they don't even want you to participate. They just want you to be a woman. Like, I mean, a traditional kind of, like, just stay home, cook, take care of children. You don't have any right, you know, to have a decision or to have a voice. Like, it's as if that beginning to somebody was was having this back and forth conversation on a comment section talking about how this present administration is trying to put people backwards instead of the administration to put people upwards or forward or to move people forward. It is actually bringing people backwards. It's as if the administration is all about revenge or something. Like, they just keep on doing things one after the other. And when you ask or when you see most of these MAGA supporters defending all of the things, they are just easy to tell you that, oh my God, don't worry, it's going to get very, very bad in order for it to get better. I hope that they are seeing all of the things that is going on right now. I hope that they are beginning to understand what is really happening. Like, even if these things are coming one after the other, it shouldn't be a shock because all of these things are pre-known. Like, you have a knowledge of it. You know that this was going to happen, but anyways, you decided, okay, I just want it to happen. Even if you know deep inside of you that this was going to happen, but you made it possible. So if I see most of the people crashing out, and sometimes I pause and ask myself, is it that these people do not have an idea? Like, all of these things are actually transparent. It is out there. This man, like, it was, everything was just out there. It was all written and scheduled. But no, people do not want to listen. Like, they don't care anyways. They just want to protect a particular supremacism and all of that. Like, I just wish that at the end of the day, people are going to be okay. Anyone love listener, just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. So, lovelies, if you've not subscribed to this channel up to this extent, do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button, like, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload
Think of
the
this
next
video.
one.
Please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So, lovelies, if you've not subscribed to this channel, do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button, like, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.